Ayy, that shit touched by a boss, nigga. Ayy, X3 with the spring. Cat from the 16. Look. Red zone, nigga, don't get caught slipping in your shoes, nigga. From the South Fiend where they swingin', show some tools, nigga. Lay the seats on them, lay that boy up in the snooze. Man, he sells some from the two clips so long it's in the way, nigga. Many men hate that I'm swinging out this way, nigga. The hate I got niggas that's done solid in they place, nigga. Really calling me that buku chest, I take a space. I pop XDs, just case to stay locked on me every trace, nigga. Jugging on your ass, we get black and pleb swinging it. My nigga out on bail, try to stack up on some lawyer chips. Fuck the ceiling up, we catching on to all these drifts. My bitch ain't named Taylor, but I swear she move her body swift. We ain't signing off no plea. We with that duty shit, that 30 squared on ease. Hit your millipede, you pussy all on that street. My nigga EB skill will aim, that's breath, I'm shooting shit without ease, nigga. I'm out here dealing with this case, nigga. My attorney told me fight it, bob and weave. Watch your homies, they might sneak you, make you bleed, nigga.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Resiliency Camp Podcast. We got my man Priest Willis Jr. in the building. A lot of you guys know him as a former UCLA Bruin and Texas A&M Aggie. Now he's known for being an entrepreneur and a businessman. How we feeling today, Priest?
I'm feeling good. It's a pleasure to be on here. I love what you're doing with the audience and with your people, putting out this good content.
Man,
just being versatile in different categories and just giving good game to these people. I love it.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Honored to have you today, man. Glad you can make it,
Blessed.
man.
Yes, sir.
And man, just to get, right into it, man, a lot of people don't know, man, me, you, and Kenny, man, we was putting in work with the Wrights, man. Y'all junior year, my sophomore year, man. And I remember, like, me and Kenny, we'll work out and then we'll come after school. And I mean, you already in there, full sweat.
In the building.
I'm like, man, did he go to school today? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
I probably did. Nah, I'm kidding. I went to school.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, just grinding. But, seeing that work ethic, man, was really inspiring. You know what I mean? Like, that's... Yeah. Man, that's the first thing I noticed about you. And I'm like, man, I like this guy. Yeah. Man, that work ethic. And then, man, so one thing I want to ask you is, man, like, if you have to define, like what's hustle? You know what I'm saying? What does hustle mean to you? And, like, how do you apply that to your everyday life?
Really, that's a good question. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it, but some might call me crazy. I think hustle's overrated. And what I mean by that, everybody has their different hustle and their different lane.
That's real.
A lot of people haven't been put around it, so they don't know what hustle looks like. So they only go with what they know. But for the most part, for me, what inspired my drive and work ethic was being around people who knew how to work. My mom, single mom, raising me. My dad was in my life, but for the most part, I lived with my mom. She worked hard, 9 to 5. Seeing Mike, y'all know Mike, being there. He worked the 9 to 5, worked hard, being around the Wrights. So that drove my hustle, that drove my work ethic. But really that drove me outside of the field also, being able to be an entrepreneur, being able to do different endeavors, dive into different projects,
right? Being
versatile, being able to take losses, but
that's real.
Taking them as lessons,
that's real.
And not backing down from that.
And like one thing I like that you mentioned, like you said, like not everybody was taught that hustle.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's important. Like, the way you grow up, like whatever you see, like that's what you're going to end up mostly doing. You know what I mean? Like, so, man, I like how you pointed that out. Like, not a lot of people taught that because I think that make a big difference. You know what I mean? When you've been brought up in it, you know what I mean? And shown that, you know what I mean? Like, that's real right there. And then, man, just talk about, because now that you're retired from football, man, which we'll dive more into that, you know what I mean, in a little while. But, now that you're retired, man, talk to me. Like, have you found, like, what's next, your purpose? And if so, man, like, what is that?
Okay. For the most part, I kind of take it day by brick. So for the most part, my purpose right now is serving. I know that's my calling.
That's real.
No matter what that is doing. If I got to make Jamba Juice smoothies for you, if I got to give you a pedicure, if I got to do whatever, like, I'm a server. So I know I can implement that probably in coaching if I want to dip into that. But right now it's helping others. So, with real estate, health insurance, Airbnbs and doing different things, helping people credit repair, just being able to give back to the community and give them real game, stuff that they're going to need, credit, like stuff that wasn't taught in school. That's probably why I wasn't in there. It wasn't really teaching us.
That's real.
Yeah.
And man, like you said, serving, man, like I think that's one of the biggest things on why God called us here is to serve others. You know what I mean? So I think that's very big and important. Like what you just touched on right there, man, that's huge, man. And then, you know, when did you, because man, like I said, you end up, you know, playing at UCLA, playing at Texas A&M, you know, going to the league for a little while. Like, when did you know it was time for you to, you know, hang up those cleats? And man, was that tough?
Man, that's tough. I probably could speak on 99% of people. That's a tough process.
That's
man.
real.
That's knowing when to put it up, because you don't want to feel like, dang, like, am I giving it up too soon?
Right.
When is the right time?
Right. That's real.
It was tough for me because at the same time, you know, got cut from the Colts. Good experience. You know, an agent talked down, said with me, it's like, you know, we can do the Canada thing. We can do, you know, this and that. And I was kind of stuck in my ways. Like, no, this is not adding to my legacy, which I wish I would have, you know, took the opportunity. But at that time, you know, I was just like, nah, I'm going to hang it up. Because I always was versatile. Like, always people saw me playing football because I worked hard. Right. But honestly, like, you have to see me outside of, you know, the field. Like, anything I'm doing, like, I just work hard. So as far as that, man, I mean.
And then, man, you know, you talk about, you know, ending it, which, you know, it is a tough process, man. You know what I mean? Like, because like I tell people, you know what I mean? When you go hard for something and it don't work out, man, like, it can be.
Man,
you know,
it's tough, man.
It's tough, man. So it's glad to just see someone, you know, speaking on that, man. And then let me ask, man, like, what were some strengths that you think you learned, you know, as, you know, being an athlete that helped you carry into the next transition in life, man?
Yeah. I mean, some of the strengths, time management, I think we could speak for everyone here. Like, we had to juggle practice, workouts, school,
right,
eating. Everything there as far as, you know, being able to juggle that, but actually what we were dealing with outside of just school, you know, family things. You know, we got people who come from broken families, different homes there that people don't have them supporting them. So, I mean, mainly there, I mean, the strengths that I took was being able to be reliable, on time, not creating excuses, being able, if I don't have the answer, finding out that answer, you know, doing all that I can to get you that answer.
That's real.
But just working hard. And I don't necessarily need any of the credentials to have good work ethic. I feel like you can pick up anything. You just got to give yourself the opportunity. And what happens is, you know, preparation. Once it meets opportunity, you know, usually it's success. But
that's real.
That's pretty much it, man. And it's simple. Following that blueprint that, you know, being a student athlete gave to us. Man, anybody can use that.
Man, that's real. Yeah. And like, you know, I know I keep saying it over and over, you know what I mean? Because I feel like somebody need to hear it. But like I said, my head coach back at UAB would say all the time, I'm raising good fathers, good husbands, you know what I mean? Firemen, business owners, because you're right, like you learn so much. Like you say, work ethic, time management, you learn all these things. And then once you get out to the real world, you can apply it. You know, so I think that's.
But I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where like people get stuck. But it's a hard place, you know.
It is.
Putting the cleats down, and when you've been doing this for 10 years,
come on,
like 12 years straight, you giving it everything, broken bones, and just to be thrown out, it kind of leaves you a little bitter. Like,
you do, for sure.
Like, man, I feel like the game owes me more. Like,
that's real.
I gave everything, and now I'm out here at square one. But at the same time, my dad told me, you know, hey, son, football, no matter what, if you go pros or not, it's still only a 10-story building. Right.
That's real.
So, you know, I made it to that 9th floor.
That's real.
It was a good place. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I didn't get to 10. That's cool. But now I'm at the 1-story building, on the 1st floor. But this ceiling is 25 stories. You know what I mean?
That's real. Even higher. Even higher. That's
so
real.
I just was optimistic about the situation and the cards that I was dealt. I didn't fold. I just played my hand, and I stuck with the process.
That's real. Yeah. And then one thing I just want to ask you, because I heard you say opportunity. So let me ask you, if the opportunity ever presented itself for you to get that shot in the league, man, would you take it?
Like speaking like right now, if they said, hey.
Man, you know, I'm talking about, you know, time, training, you know, you natural, man. All you got to do is get back in that gym. If the opportunity came like, you know, tomorrow, you know, next month or something, they like, hey, Priest, we need you. Would you go take it?
Now, I might sound crazy for saying this.
Right, but you're just being real.
I wouldn't take it. Why wouldn't you, Priest? I mean, you got to understand that football is not guaranteed. Ain't nothing guaranteed about that sport. We can go out there and break our vertebrae.
That's real.
I promise you the people that was there that day are not going to be there.
That's real.
Them next few months, it's going to get dark. So not saying that, like, what about the opportunity? Why would you just take that? And then saying that it's just not guaranteed, but I do know, what I've implemented and what I've kind of built.
Right.
My foundation outside of football, learning the lessons that I took from football and putting it into, the business world.
Right.
This is forever. Slow growth is for sure growth.
That's for
a lot of these people still are going to get outside of football, outside of basketball, outside of their sports, and 95% of them are going to be broke. A lot of them get this money and don't know how money works. So it gets to them, in abundance. So a lot of these people don't understand how money works, but not saying, none of them are smart. None of them, can create businesses. Building my dollars, from the pennies. I came down here to Arizona with $1,000 to my name.
Right.
And, I'm not going to speak on what we have now, but it's blessings. Like,
it's blessings, right.
It's hard work, but I did that. I got that. You know what I mean?
That's real.
I built that. So like, it feels different. You know
right.
What I mean?
Yeah. It's better when you get it on your own and make you feel different.
For 5 years from today.
That's real.
It's a little different.
That's real.
I wouldn't take it back just because we've created so much at this moment. And I'm like, wow, I have a lot of freedom. I don't have to be stressed out. I don't have to go squat and worry if this is going to be the last squat for me, because I don't know if my knees is going to make it today. You know what I'm saying? So
real talk.
It's just different things like that. Going out to practice. Like I don't want to practice. I do not want to hit this dude. This dude acting like we in the game. Like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Work with me.
But it's definitely a grind, man. You definitely put your body through a lot, man.
But I understood I at one point, I didn't love the game no more. And I'm not going to disrespect the game and keep playing it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to keep disrespecting the game if I don't love it. You know what I mean?
Hey, what Drake said, at the moment I stop having fun with it, I'll be done with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just real talk, man. And then like I said, bro, the work ethic, like that's the first thing I noticed about you. And, you end up being the number 1 player in the state, which is big in Arizona, and, being a top 50 player in the country, man.
Highly favored. Man. I mean, that all just stems from, honestly, writing my goals down. Now that I think about it. Honestly, if people know, Arizona about the sports, like, man, I came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Hey.
People didn't know me.
Hey.
Who is this kid?
I kept hearing Priest Willis. I'm like, man, who's that?
Who is
man,
this?
I gotta check him out. You know what I mean? And like I said, right, number 1 player in the state, top 50 player in the country. And then, you end up, going to UCLA, man. Talk to me about, that whole recruiting process and then, choosing to go to UCLA.
I mean, it's LA, easy to get lost in the sauce for real. Like if you get lost in the sauce in Arizona and these other states, man, LA not for you. But I mean, just the market, just where I thought my brand was going to take me there. Right. But I've met a lot of opportunities. I've networked.
That's real.
I've met a lot of people who I still can reach out to this day.
That's real.
And it's not a take situation. It's more of the ones where we're just giving game. But I'm grateful for being there. I love UCLA. It was tough playing football there, you know what I'm saying? Just because it wasn't even about football. It was just kind of like outside of football and then dealing with the city, being, from Arizona, dealing with all that. I mean, it was a great opportunity I took from, what I could from it. Right. I understood that, my ceiling was being capped there. And I feel like no matter what I could do was going to change anyone's perspective. That's here or there, but that's why we take risks.
Right. That's real.
You got to take risks. Chances make champions. So that's when I, ended up transferring to A&M. I felt like, I can elevate there more, focus on football because I was kind of getting away from it, give it one last shot. But,
and that's real because, like, that was going to be kind of like my next thing, like, because I see you, go to UCLA freshman year and you balling, you doing your thing. And then,
yeah.
Like I even felt like what you're saying right now, I kind of feel like your ceiling was kind of being capped because I'm like, hey, put my dog right back on the field. Like, don't just play him here and there. Like, no, play him all the time. And man, like, it was just great to just see you out there, man, doing your thing. And then, you go to Texas A&M where, Texas, I don't know if it's like the funnest state, but like you went to Texas A&M to college town, College Station. So, talk to me about that, man. Cause that experience going from LA to Texas A&M, I'm sure it had to be different. And then, like you said, like that UCLA life, I can only imagine 18 years old going out to UCLA. You don't got no curfew no more. Parents to tell you to go to bed. And then, you end up going to Texas A&M. Just talk about that growth. Cause I'm sure that, the younger you versus the older you, the more mature you was definitely different. So talk about that, man.
I mean, I'm big on, just fashion and just clothes. So it was a big culture shock, coming from the West Coast to, the South Side where they were in plug clubs and Levi's, that's creased. So I mean, you know, it was a different culture there. I was wearing basic stuff. They was like, ooh, you fly. I'm like, man, this is. I woke up like maybe in this. So I mean, it's you know, it was cool there. Being in a college town, though, I could focus more on my craft.
Right.
In football, which was big. I thought I had a good junior season up until, you know, my caught a little honestly uncontrollable injury, staph infection in my ankle that put me out, and I just never could shake back. So I mean, other than that, a lot took from there. I'm gonna keep saying it again. Network, you know, people that I met there.
That's real.
I'm glad that I was able to experience, you know, UCLA and Texas, which are two different cultures. So
That's
I
real.
mean, I'm glad I was able to, you know, being able to travel and take what it could get for me at the end of the day, looking back where I'm at now. Just because at the same time, I'm grateful. I could have been in the city. I could have took the JUCO route, which is not easy.
It's
A
not.
lot of great players can't make it out of it.
Right.
And
it's
not
real.
because of physicality.
It's not. It's nothing to do with
It's a mental
football.
game.
It's a mental game.
So I'm blessed. I was able to, you know, man, just, you know, being able to get my shot at it. At the same time, I don't hold no bitterness. I wish there was some situations where the priest I'm at now, mental wise, would have kind of just looked at the situation like, come on, priest, let's be reasonable.
Could have handled that different.
Let's be reasonable, priest. And I wasn't. I kind of lashed out. But if I talked about the situation, she'll be like, I feel you. But at the same time, I just wasn't here yet. I wasn't ready.
Right. But, you know, too, like, you know, a lot of people who never been in that situation, it's kind of hard for them to understand. Man. Like, because mind you, I come home, you know, I got family like, oh, man, we wish you would have went harder. We wish you was more focused. I'm like, man, only if you knew. Only if you knew.
Yeah.
First one there, last one to leave. Like that's all I ever saw. So, you know what I mean? For it to not happen, you know what I mean? Definitely.
Also have probably, and I probably you could speak on this, Gerald, having people depending on you.
It's real.
But and you going inside, like, is this my calling?
Right.
Because your people be more hurt than you. Like I think I kind of took it to the chin and moved on, man. You know, outside of my mom's side of like they would hurt. Like,
yeah, bro.
You know, my mom never experienced that. I felt like football brought my family together. It brought a side where it was a lot of healing that needed to be done.
That's real.
And football did that. And you know, I'm grateful, you know. But I mean, my family took it harder, and that's what kind of hit me, like a little more than anything. Just, you know,
man,
mama, we gonna be all right. You know what I mean?
Right, that's real.
She's like, man, what do you have planned? Like, we're gonna stay in our lane, we're gonna game.
And I think a lot of that too is, man, like, you know, especially like, you know, being that rock for your family, they so used to seeing you so strong. You know what I mean? So to kind of see you take one on the chin and things like that, like it's tough for them. You feel me? Because they used to seeing the happy priest and things like that. You know, that should have real talk wiped the smile off your face. You know what I'm saying?
Party. Like, everybody about
you know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. It was high expectations.
I'm getting drafted. We're not about that. Nah. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those ones. So that's kind of why I went out there to North Carolina. Because I needed to find out who I was.
That's real.
Because stepping away from football, I'm like, who am I? Like, you know what I mean? Not saying like, I understood, but I needed to figure out really who I wasn't to become, you know, who I am now. So
that's real.
It took me stepping outside of Arizona and going to North Carolina and getting low for some months. You know what I'm saying? Just getting low and building. Like, it's all right not to be out. It's all right not to have social media. I don't have none of that.
That's real.
Because a lot of time when this is my situation, like, you can kind of find yourself sometimes like, damn, he got that. Damn, he got this.
Yeah.
And it's not even nothing malicious. It's just like, damn, it's, you know,
it's just, you see it all the time. You see it all the time. So you think that's what it is, right?
I could have, you know what I mean? Right. But at the same time, I'm all big about staying in my lane. And I know what works for me. And I'm honest with myself. So
that's real.
I had to cut social media.
And like you said, like being honest with yourself, because like I learned in my relationship class, you know, like my teacher pointed out, like you go to social media, everybody's smiling.
Yeah.
Everybody happy. That ain't life.
Y'all not happy. Y'all not happy. Stop it.
It ain't life. You know what I mean? So come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, like just finding out who you are, you know what I mean? That was big too, because mind you, I just got back on social media. Like if you go back and look, I just started back up at the beginning of this year because I went through the same thing, like, right? Like going out there, being labeled as a first round pick to, you know, Tyre, my dog, he can testify. Like when he first got there, they like, what up, gangster? Like everybody like you feel me? Like, come on, bro.
Everybody knew that.
I'm set up at Exos, coming back home. I get hurt, switch to another side of the ball, and it's like, Who's you now? If you don't, you know how the business shit go.
Yeah.
Like, if you ain't producing, come on.
Facts. What have you done for me lately?
Who is you? So like, man,
Right.
I felt really fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's what I had to learn. Meet my brother Tavon, the FCA leader. Like he said, that social media stuff real. He said in the trail, if you delete it today, who gonna call you? Who gonna check up on you? Who gonna make sure you all right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's real talk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, got rid of that stuff. You know what I mean? Only the real homies, you know what I'm saying? My real family who love me, like,
Who following you in real life?
You in real life. That's
real
what I'm
life.
saying. Like, mind you, I got people like, damn, you got 3 kids? I'm like, man, if you don't know, if you don't call, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna know. Like now I'm back on Instagram, you can kind of see. But before that,
family
man, you wasn't saying nothing, bro.
building.
You know what I mean?
Building
Like
a foundation just in case the walls crack. We still got a good foundation. We back at it. You know?
and two, man, like I tell people, you know, cause like, you know, like it's like a whooping. And like people gotta understand, like God whoop you sometimes. But it's not meant to last long. You know what I mean? We all got butt whoopings, right? That lasts about 5-6 minutes, right? But God he just wants you to change. And it's like, man, I feel like that's all he was doing to me out there was humbling me, building me into the man that I needed to become today. You know what I mean?
But sometimes, like I said, everything is temporary. That's why I'm never comfortable in my position and in my spot, because I know it can be here today, going tomorrow. But
That's
God's
real.
going to test you to see how bad you want it.
Come on.
And a lot of people fold right before he's about to give it to you.
That's real.
It's going to get hard. It ain't just sweet. Like, it's just
That's
not
real.
sweet. So, you know, I mean, just knowing when to keep pushing. Like, I don't know if anybody's out there listening who you just woke up today complacent or who's just been pushing that project to the side. Like, man, get it. Like,
Go get it, right?
You don't need capital to do it. Like, I mean, you build your credit. You know, there's things that you can start. We don't need the credentials as far as
That's real.
a diploma. Like, it's crazy to hear people go to school for being an entrepreneur.
Right.
When the biggest entrepreneurs dropped out of, did it? Okay,
Right.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
real.
So it's like,
That's real.
What are you doing outside of your 9 to 5? You know, everybody went to workouts, right? Everybody went to practice. There was very few who stayed outside of it, went on the drug
real.
machines. There was very few who put up them shots playing basketball. It was very few that did more than that was required for them, because they understood at the same time when they wrote their goals down, they understood, hey, I want to be great.
Right.
I got to do this.
That's real.
All the in-between stuff, and that's part of the process. Sticking with the process.
Man, that's real. And then, you know, talk to me about, you know, being, you know, retired and done with football, man. Talk to me about, like, what do you think is like one of the biggest mental health issues that you face since being done with football?
Figuring out who I was. I feel like just being a student athlete, you kind of can get trapped in a reality that's not real. We're kind of sheltered from real stuff.
That's real.
So, and even being in high school football, right? Like, we kind of did what we want. Like, you know what I mean? That didn't help us. Like, we didn't get better.
It was crippling.
by
It didn't
doing
help.
that, you know what I'm
Come
saying?
on.
That didn't help us.
Come on. Right.
So, I mean, outside of saying that, like, it was figuring out who I was. I had to understand who I wasn't. And I had to sit down and reshape my thinking. I had to stop thinking about the now. Right. I need to start thinking about 5 years from now. Where I want to be for 5 years from now. I'm already thinking about 2022. I'm out of 2020. 2020 has been a great year. I'm still speaking with 4 months left.
That's
it's
real.
Gonna be great. We're putting that into existence.
Man, that's real.
I already thought about 2021. So it's about, you know, here, mind, body, spirit, something that you touched on with Kyrie. I loved it. Like, all that plays a part. Like we were talking about. Like,
it do.
If something off the field went bad,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It might show on the field. And it had nothing to do with the game. It was
real.
Here. So
it was all in the mind.
Connected. So, I mean, one of the biggest, that was probably the biggest one there. Just, you know, trying to figure out who I am and becoming the man that I wanted to be. And, you know, I'm not saying we have everything figured out or everything is figured out, but shit, I got a plan. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it down. Like,
that's real. What they say, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail?
Man, people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. Like, you don't wake up like, I'm gonna fuck this day up. Nah, you just didn't wake up and write how your day was gonna go. Like,
that's
you
real.
Know what I'm saying? So
that's real.
It's just different things like that there. It's mental more than anything.
And then, you know, you mentioned like that hustle, man. So like, do you got any projects or, you know, any side hustles you do outside your 9 to 5? Because I know, like, for me, right, like I'm a teacher Monday through Friday. Yeah. At nighttime, I'm working security. Yeah. And then, you know, finding the time to do this podcasting, man. So, you know, tell them about that side hustle and, you know, anything or any projects or something you got coming, man.
I mean, first, I got a few projects out there saying, and honestly, I'm big on, I don't know if I'm gonna have the saying right, but I read something where like Bruce Lee mastered, I want to say like a punch 10,000 times. Right. And there was somebody who learned everything, you know, fairly evenly. You know, I want to be someone that masters something and then moves on to the next one. So saying that, like, it took time to build these side hustles, because
That's real.
I was in a position sometimes, like, you have so much, like Airbnb, you have a Sprinter van company, you'll have vending machines, you'll have this. It can kind of paralyze your growth. So, focusing on one thing, I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody is facing that, just focus on one thing. But yeah, we have a few side hustles out there. Eric, if you speak to me, I'm big on Airbnb. We just closed out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Also moving into Buckhead, Atlanta. Getting into these homes and these short-term rentals, and it's all being automated. If you tap in, link with me, we could talk about that. But other than that, being able to take overhead from Amazon, renting out these Sprinter vans, hiring a driver, taking this overhead, paying them, making a capital from there, but residual income, money while I'm asleep. You can't work forever. This money's working harder than me. When I go to sleep, I'm still making money. So
that's real.
And it's the little small things there as far as asset allocation and being able to have a diverse portfolio, managing the risk versus the rewards, being able to dip into a little everything there. So, right. I mean, the side hustle, it's a lot, but also a side hustle can be meditating. I've implemented that just because I feel like the no sleep, no grinding. That's overrated too. Like, man, you gotta reflect. You gotta think. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta rest.
Right. You gotta rest. Like, you need the sleep. So, I've been doing a lot of that too, meditating, and that's just, nothing. Just me closing my eyes. I meditate in the shower. I mean, not be awkward or anything. That's just my time.
Right.
I'm so busy.
Right.
So I kind of take a little bit more time to reflect, think about, and visualizing like you would on game day.
Right.
What the coach say, visualize a play that you're gonna make a play, right? You know what I mean?
Real.
So I think about how my day is gonna be. If I do face adversity, how am I gonna control myself emotionally? And then asking God, for strength for things that I can't control. You know what I mean?
Man, that's real.
Being able to, stay connected. I've been coming more and more big on, my faith. I'm just one person that has to see things for himself. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not going to take anyone's opinion.
Come on.
No matter what. Yeah.
Come on.
I was raised, my parents brought me to church and everything.
Man, I know where you're going.
I want to figure out this myself because
right.
I'm going to go somewhere else on that one.
For real though, because that's what I tell people. Like, I always hear people all the time, well, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, I'm praise Allah, whatever it is. And I don't ever say what's right or wrong for nobody, never that, but I just ask them why.
Yeah.
My parents raised me that way.
Right.
And I always ask them, like, well, what's best for you though?
Mm-hmm.
Like what, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was like one of the biggest things for me. Like, I was raised in the church. I'm talking about Monday through Sunday.
What?
My grandpa was a pastor.
Yeah.
So we in Bible study Tuesday, Wednesday at the church Friday, up there early Sunday morning, right? Like, and what's crazy is like, a lot of people that grow up like that, as they get older, they tend to drift away. And, but for me, I had to find out who I was and what worked for me. And that's why I end up building that faith and building that on my own. Because it's easy when you got somebody pulling your hand and telling you, come on, come pray, come do this. Thanks. You know what I mean? But it's hard though. You know what I mean? When you're going through them hard times, to lean on your faith. Like you said, you ask God to, you know what I'm saying? Help me with the things I can't control. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we spend time on things we we can't control, like, for real. And I'm like, so it's real, you know what I mean? And
that's that. Like I said, Dad was a pastor and everything there. I just seen some things where I was like, this ain't right. I feel like heaven and hell is really a state of mind. People really be living in hell on earth, like in their mind.
That's
like,
real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can find peace with unlocking the mental game. I mean,
that's real.
I feel like we should read books. I feel like I value more things that I should have when I was younger. Like, I want to knock a book out a month. I challenge you to do that. It's knowledge. It's power.
That's real.
I feel like you get uncomfortable in order to get great. Like, stop doing things that you're used to doing. Being able to step out of the box and not being afraid to care about what everybody else thinks. Maybe they had a plan, a blueprint for you to follow. Man, go get out. Get it on your own. Don't follow behind anyone else. And this is just off the top. It's stuff that I feel like I got to give to, whoever's listening, man.
Man. Yeah. So, Priest, and man, like, man, like I said, what you was just talking about was just so real and deep, man. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear that, man.
For sure.
Man, also too, bro, like, you talk about all these businesses and, things you got going on, man. Talk about, the ups and the downs, man. Talk about the failures and the success as well. Because, I feel like with everything new or something, come with trial and error.
For sure. One thing that I've learned, man, you can't trust nobody. for real. Like, whoa. Like I knew that was real, but like in this real world, oh my God, man, don't trust nobody. Like one thing I figured out, like if I don't know it, I'm gonna be fucking up all night learning how to figure it out before I put another nigga in position and cut the man out. Right? Before I put somebody else in position.
Hey, talk that shit on here.
Before I put somebody else in
bro.
position to take that. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
One thing I would say is, man, read up everything on yourself. Make yourself an asset. You gotta understand, like, if your job cuts you, and I think people found that out with this coronavirus, everything be temporary. Like,
that's
make yourself
real.
an asset. Yeah, I got cut from my 9 to 5, but I'm still a real estate agent. Nothing, it didn't stop nothing. It just took away my 6 hustle. I still got 5. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
So you gotta be able to be prepared. You gotta understand that you only got 24 hours in the day. God damn it.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand, you gotta plant these seeds. And you're gonna reap what you sow. And more than anything, a lot of fails that I took, I mean, was from trusting and putting my trust in other people when I should have just learned it myself.
That's real.
Or should have just really done it myself. But I mean, other than that, you know, it's gonna be up and downs. You can't prevent that.
That's real.
You could be the coldest corn. You're gonna get beat. Somebody's gonna route you. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Somebody's gonna route you. So like, you can't stop all that, because a lot of times, you know, you need failure. That's lessons. Like, you got to learn that.
Real.
That's gonna shape you to be the CEO or whoever you want to be, you know, at the end of the day. So, I mean, one thing there, just on, you know, if you can learn it yourself. I've also learned, you know, you got to go all in, trust your instinct. There's been times where, man, I knew I should have did it. Right. I knew I should have did it, and I didn't, and I was sick. Like, whoa. Right. So, I mean, trust that gut feeling. It's there for a reason. It's talking to you for a reason. But also being able to make decisions not based on emotions, being able to make decisions that are calculated, being able to reflect. Like, you need all of that stuff. You don't have to do it now. You don't have to make it now. So everything has time. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, that's what I've learned.
And it's so crazy. You know, 2 points I want to hit on. Like you said, first off, like, you reap what you sow. So like, when you plant that seed, like, the biggest problem with people is like, they plant that seed, man, they want it to grow right there, but they not understanding it take time. You know what I mean? But if you let that tree blossom, oranges will come out. You know what I mean? Lemons will come out. You know what I mean? But it take time though. And then, man, another point you made, just talking about not moving with emotion. Like, I remember, like, I got the UAB, right? Like, I'm still the same me. You know, like, I'm bringing that energy. First day of practice, I'm out there fighting people. They like, wow, like, he a whole different person. Like, off the field, he all smiles and he quiet. Then he get on the field and he socking people and like ready to go, man.
Miles
and you know,
and folks.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just, you know, I remember my coach just sitting me down one day and he was like, man, like, it's great that you're emotional because it shows you got passion, you care, you know what I mean? All those things. But he said also too, you got to know yourself. Right. And you got to, you know, as a man, you got to be able to check yourself. And I'm like, man, from that day forward, I was never really like, oh no, out there. Now I still get into scuffles and things like that. But for the most part, like, I wasn't being emotional no more. I was actually thinking with my brain versus, you know, moving off logic versus emotion. You know what I mean?
There's principles and there's emotions. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to stick on your principles at the end of the day, but also you got to understand, you know what I mean? Don't make irrational decisions based on emotions. Right. Just kind of take a second or two, breathe. Before you, I mean, with anything, that's
real, you know, because feelings is like a roller coaster. Like,
really.
They do this, and like you say, that's why you got to move off principle, because your feelings always gonna move up and down and things. But that's why you got to move with logic.
Stay the same. Stay consistent.
Man, that's real right there, bro. And then, man, talk to me about your business philosophy, man, because I want people to hear this one, man.
Yeah. I mean, I live off a basic philosophy. We call it the PPP, not the SBA you thinking of. We call it people, process, and profit. And what that means is, and this can be implemented in anything. I'm big on people. I'm a people person. I can connect with people. That's where your network is built from. That's where, what's the saying they say? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's going to come in your life at any moment. You don't know who it might be. So you got to stay connected, and loyalty, all that goes into people. Just loving thy neighbor. That's real. And doing it genuinely. You know what I mean? And then when we talk about the process, I probably said it all throughout this. It's a process, just because you got to stick with it. You got to gain in your lane. You got to understand there might be some things where it's not for you to understand. Keep going, keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? Keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing. Stay consistent, because when opportunity meets that preparation. Like I said, it's success every time. And
That's real.
Profit just comes from doing what you love. I mean, if you just being you, serving, not necessarily worrying about the financial side, even though I know times might be tough for you, but you got to understand it's a process. You got to stay down till you come up. All those 3 things, I mean, success, businesses, booming, generations, empires, all that.
Man, that's real. Like, I'm talking about, that's one of the realest, like, man, that's some of the realest shit I ever heard. Like, for real, that, people, process, profit.
Come on, man.
Man, you about to have me waking up saying people, process, profit every day. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm glad you can, able to share that. And then, man, you got all these things going, man. Talk to me, like, man, what's your ultimate goal? Like, what's your end goal as far as with the business? And then, man, even just like with your personal life, man, like what that's gonna look like for Priest.
And what I did understood, which was crazy, is like, I remember sitting back when I was in North Carolina, like, damn, I want to make 6 figures. Boom, we did that. Now it's like, damn, I want to do this. So what I understood from that is like, the end game, there really isn't never an end game. You always going to be constantly writing down your goals. Every level is a new devil. You just got to understand that you got to move with purpose. I could say like my next endeavor, man, I definitely want to dip into the marijuana industry, THC business. I'm big on CBD. We started it. I wish that was one of the things, man. I wish I would have stuck with it.
Kept going, right?
Man, we hit on it right when we were supposed to. I just kind of got a little discouraged with that and just dealing with, the emotional side, but that's here and there. But,
right.
I mean, other than that, man, just staying true to that.
Man, that's real right there, man. Priest, like, man, it's been such an honor, man, to just have you here, bro, boss. Man, just to hear you, kick that game, bro. People need to, definitely hear this and see this. And, man, I hope he says something to inspire y'all, because I know I'm inspired, man. Like, I'm fired up, right? Like, I'm over here like, man, I feel like it's game day, man. So, man, Priest, man, I'm honored to have you, bro. I appreciate you, bro. And it's all love, man, for real, man. So,
and I appreciate it for being here. Like I said, man, I love what you're doing. I definitely feel like the city needs this.
Man, for real.
I definitely feel like a lot of people can relate to us. They see us and they like, I can see this. Like, okay, it's not really that hard. You know what I'm saying? I can maybe I am creating excuses for myself. Maybe I am being complacent. And if that is you, I mean, I'm telling you, I was there. I'm not telling you how to feel, not telling you how to cope. But what I do know, you got to keep moving, got to keep pushing. Bills are still going to be, got to get paid. Your kids' mouths still got to get fed.
That's real.
You still got to become a better person at the end of the day. Nobody's asking you to be in the final form, Goku, being able to master anything that you do, but just get a little bit better today. Get a little bit better tomorrow and just build on that. And when you look up, shit, you're going to have a castle.
Man, that's 100.